Ever opened a bag of weed you paid serious money for, only to find something that looked like it came straight out of a lawnmower? That moment when you realize you've been ripped off hits different, doesn't it? Here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. At least 60% of the cannabis out there is mediocre garbage. And I'm not just talking about street weed. Even legal dispensaries are packed with poorly grown, rushed dry, barely cured material. The problem? Most consumers have absolutely no clue how to tell the difference between premium flower and overpriced trash. But that changes today. I'm about to give you the definitive method, the same one professional growers and real connoisseurs use, to separate exceptional weed from the stuff you should avoid like the plague. 4 dead simple tests you can do in 30 seconds that will save you thousands of dollars and countless disappointments over your lifetime. Buckle up, because after reading this guide, nobody's ever going to fool you again. Open the container, look inside. What you see in the first 3 seconds already tells you 80% of what you need to know. Quality weed literally jumps out at you. That's not a metaphor. Premium flowers have a visual presence that screams, "Look at me, I'm magnificent." We're talking bright, intense greens, often accented with deep purple hues, electric blues, or rich burgundy, colors that look like they were painted by a psychedelic artist. But the real show is the fiery orange pistils weaving through the flower like glowing copper threads. And then there are the trichomes. Oh, the trichomes. These tiny crystalline bastards are the whole reason you smoke. They're microscopic mushroom-shaped glands that produce all the cannabinoids, THC, CBD, and the rest, plus all the terpenes that create aroma and effect. Top-shelf weed is literally covered in them. When you move it under the light, it should sparkle like someone dusted it with diamonds. That frosty, crystalline coating isn't decorative, it's pure concentrated potency. The structure of the flower matters just as much as its surface. Well-grown buds are dense and compact, with a defined shape that shows geometry and intention. This means the plant received perfect light, optimal airflow, and balanced nutrients throughout flowering. When you pick up a bud like this, it has weight, substance, presence. Now let's talk red flags, the signal screaming, "Run away," dull or brown colors. That stuff is old, oxidized, or stored like crap. The cannabinoids have degraded, the terpenes have evaporated. It's dead weed walking. Gray or white fuzz? Stop. That's mold, friend. Don't even touch it. Mold in cannabis can cause serious respiratory problems, especially if you have a compromised immune system or lung issues. Not worth the risk, period. Airy, wispy buds means the plant was stressed, underfed, or grown with insufficient light. These lightweight, fluffy flowers have little resin and even less potency. It's like buying a bag of chips that's 90% air. Seeds everywhere in massive stems? Someone let male plants pollinate the females, and the plant spent all its energy making seeds instead of producing resin. Result: weak, harsh weed. Plus, you're literally paying for the weight of seeds and wood you'll throw away. Look, you don't need to be a botanist. Trust your visual instinct. If it looks sad, it'll probably smoke sad. If it looks like nature's jewelry, it probably is. Here's a secret that sketchy sellers don't want you to know. Smell is more important than looks. Yeah, you read that right. Why? Because aroma directly reveals the presence and quality of terpenes, and terpenes are half the entire cannabis experience. These volatile aromatic compounds don't just create incredible smells, they modulate, guide, and personalize the effects of THC through what scientists call the entourage effect. No terpenes equals a flat, one-dimensional experience, no matter how much THC is in there. Crack open a jar of premium cannabis and the aroma hits you like a wave. You don't have to stick your nose in and sniff desperately. The smell comes out on its own, fills the air, invades your nostrils with personality and character. It might be explosive citrus, like fresh lemon, tangerine, pink grapefruit, or lime, that clean, vibrant acidity that wakes up your senses. Or sharp piney resin reminiscent of pine forests and fresh Christmas trees, that smell that makes you feel like you're standing in the woods. Maybe it's gassy diesel with fuel, gasoline, and chemical notes, that pungent, powerful aroma that divides people. You could get sweet berries suggesting ripe strawberries, blueberries, or blackberries, dessert-like and mouth-watering. Some have earthy funk with rich soil, mushrooms, and damp forest floor, that deep primal smell. Others offer floral elegance like lavender fields, jasmine gardens, or rose petals. And some deliver spicy heat with pepper, cloves, cinnamon, or herbs, that warmth that tingles the nose. The important thing isn't which specific smell you get, but that the smell is powerful, distinctive, and complex. A strong aroma means those precious terpenes survive the growing, harvesting, drying, and curing processes intact. It means someone cared enough to do things right. Now here's what bad weed smells like. And trust me, once you know these smells, you'll never unsmell them. The most common disaster is the hay or grass clipping smell. This screams that the flowers were dried too fast or never properly cured. Real curing is a patient process that takes weeks, allowing chlorophyll to break down while preserving terpenes. Rushed commercial operations skip or rush this crucial step, resulting in harsh, grassy products that smell like a barn. Stale or musty odors mean the cannabis is old, improperly stored, or exposed to temperature swings that degraded its terpene content over time. It's like opening a bottle of wine that's been sitting open for 3 months. All the good stuff is gone. But the worst smell of all is sharp, ammonia-like notes. This indicates the buds were sealed in containers while still too moist. This creates an oxygen-free environment where bacteria throw a party, producing ammonia as they multiply. This not only destroys the terpene profile, but also creates potential health hazards. If you smell ammonia, throw that shit away immediately. The smell test requires no special equipment, just your nose and attention. Quality cannabis announces itself immediately with powerful, distinctive scents that excite the senses and make you want to experience more. If opening a jar triggers no response, or worse, makes you want to pull away, you're definitely dealing with inferior material. Here's the thing about smell. Your nose rarely lies. It's evolved over millions of years to detect quality, freshness, and danger. If the aroma excites you, if it makes your mouth water, if it makes you think, damn, I need to try this, that's your biology telling you found something good. Listen to it. The physical feel of cannabis in your hands reveals crucial information that visual and aromatic assessments might miss. Proper texture comes from that delicate balance achieved during drying and curing, and it gives you immediate feedback about how the product was handled. Premium cannabis has a specific tactile signature. When you gently squeeze a bud between your fingers, it should offer moderate resistance, neither rock hard nor spongy soft. There should be a slight spring to the material, showing that proper moisture content has been retained. The resinous trichomes should leave subtle tackiness on your fingertips, almost like natural glue. This stickiness is desirable. It means the preservation of cannabinoid-rich resin. The real test comes when you break a bud apart. The small stem running through the center should snap cleanly with an audible crack, not bend or tear. This crisp snap is the gold standard indicator of proper drying. It means interior moisture has been reduced to the ideal range without over-drying the exterior. As you pull the flower apart, it should separate into distinct pieces rather than crumbling into powder or staying in a compressed, damp clump. Bad cannabis fails these tactile tests in predictable ways. Overly dry material crumbles at the slightest touch, turning to dust in your fingers and producing excessive shake that smokes harsh and unpleasant. This overdrying not only destroys texture, but also causes massive terpene loss through evaporation. It's like smoking dried leaves from your backyard. At the opposite extreme, cannabis that feels damp, spongy, or mushy wasn't dried enough or got exposed to high humidity during storage. This excess moisture creates perfect conditions for mold and bacteria, making the material potentially dangerous to consume. If it feels wet, it's a hard pass. Buds that feel airy, hollow, or extremely lightweight relative to their size typically suffered from poor growing conditions, insufficient light, nutrient deficiencies, or environmental stress prevented the flowers from developing proper density and resin production. These ghost buds look bigger than they are, but deliver almost nothing. The tactile evaluation takes only moments, but reveals information other assessments can't provide. Quality cannabis should feel alive in your hands, substantial, slightly sticky, and properly dried. When the texture is wrong, it indicates problems somewhere in the production process, regardless of how appealing the product might look. Think about it this way. Would you eat fruit that felt wrong in your hand? A mushy apple? A rock-hard peach? A banana that crumbles when you touch it? Hell no. The same principle applies to cannabis. Your sense of touch is an ancient, reliable quality control system. Use it. Evaluating cannabis quality isn't just showing off knowledge. It has real-world implications for your experience, your wallet, and your health. In an expanding market with wildly varying standards, consumer education is essential self-defense. The financial side alone justifies developing these skills. Cannabis remains expensive in most markets, whether legal or otherwise. Paying premium prices for inferior material is frustrating, but beyond the economic waste, there's the crushing disappointment of an unsatisfying experience. When you understand quality markers, you can spot genuine value, regardless of price, and avoid overpaying for products that don't deliver. More importantly, quality assessment directly impacts safety. Moldy cannabis poses respiratory risks and can cause serious health problems, particularly for people with compromised immune systems or respiratory conditions. Old, degraded cannabis might not be dangerous, but it provides minimal benefits, essentially wasting your money on plant material that's lost its active compounds. Improperly cured cannabis can be harsh and unpleasant, potentially causing coughing, throat irritation, or headaches that ruin your day. Here's something most people don't realize. Quality cannabis almost always comes from cultivators who genuinely care about their craft. These aren't just people growing plants for profit. They're passionate growers who obsess over every detail. They invest time, resources, and attention into every aspect of production, selecting superior genetics, optimizing environmental conditions, feeding plants properly, harvesting at peak ripeness, drying slowly and carefully, and curing patiently for weeks or even months. This dedication shows in every aspect of the final product. You can literally see, smell, and feel the difference between cannabis that was grown with love and cannabis that was rushed through production to maximize profit margins. The market is full of both. Your job is to reward the people doing it right by choosing their products and avoiding the garbage. As you develop these evaluation skills, something interesting happens. You become harder to fool, but you also become more appreciative. When you find truly exceptional cannabis, you recognize it immediately and value it properly. You understand the work, skill, and patience that went into creating it, and you're willing to pay fair prices for quality instead of chasing the cheapest option and being disappointed. The cannabis industry keeps evolving at breakneck speed, with new products, consumption methods, and market players emerging constantly. Concentrates, edibles, vapes, tinctures, topicals, the options multiply daily. But regardless of these changes, the fundamental principles of quality assessment remain constant. A plant grown with care, harvested at the right time, dried properly, and cured patiently will always outperform material that received inadequate attention at any production stage. Your role as an informed consumer extends beyond protecting your own interests. By demanding quality and recognizing it when you see it, you influence market standards and reward cultivators who prioritize excellence over shortcuts. This collective consumer pressure gradually elevates the entire industry, making quality products more accessible and encouraging more producers to invest in proper cultivation practices. Think about it. Every time you choose quality over convenience, you vote with your wallet. You tell producers, "This is what I want, this is what I'll pay for." And over time, the market responds. Shitty growers who cut corners lose customers. Quality growers who do things right build loyal followings. It's economic evolution in action. Never settle for inferior cannabis when you have the knowledge to recognize and demand better. Your experience, your health, and your investment deserve nothing less than material that meets these quality standards. With these evaluation skills, you'll navigate the cannabis marketplace with confidence, consistently identifying products worthy of your time and money while avoiding the disappointing alternatives that plague every market. Remember, this knowledge develops through practice and experience. Each evaluation you perform sharpens your ability to distinguish quality markers and spot red flags instantly. The first few times you assess cannabis using this framework, it might feel deliberate and methodical, but after evaluating dozens of different batches, these assessments become second nature, requiring only seconds to perform, but providing invaluable information. Start paying attention now. Every time you encounter cannabis, run through the checklist. How does it look? How does it smell? How does it feel? What does my gut tell me about this product? Over time, you'll develop an instinct for quality that's almost supernatural. You'll walk into a room and know immediately whether the weed is good or not. You'll smell a bag from across the table and know if it's worth your money. This isn't about becoming a snob or only accepting perfection. It's about being an educated consumer who understands what they're buying, what they're paying for, and what they should expect. It's about never again experiencing that sinking feeling of realizing you've been sold overpriced garbage. The power is in your hands now. Use it. Trust your senses. Demand quality. And never, ever settle for mediocre weed again.